Hello, Cult of the Amateur. Thanks for the reply. Now, first of all, yeah, I'll grant what you're saying about modernism and postmodernism as artistic eras or something. Obviously, Newton's work far predates any modernism in art, but we have these terms have spectrums of meaning. Obviously, modern we use in regular language, and modern physics is actually the postmodern science, not the science of the modern or classical period. And when we start talking about groups of people that are called postmodernists, and that's supposed to automatically mean that figure out what's alike from those people, and no, I mean they're just naming it. Somebody could name themselves the group of awesome heroes, and it doesn't mean that they're heroes or that their actions really are going to inform your concept of heroism. Okay, so basically, I think that through history, there is a way to be on the cutting edge for the last few hundred years, and that is to know whatever the state of the art cognitive tool set is. Well, whether you believe, put your faith in a God, power of the universe coming up through you, or you have this science mechanistic view, or you end up with what do we have now? And that's the problem. We proved our old physics model wrong, and we don't really have a new system. So to me, I always thought postmodernism was bullshit, and I've never followed. I don't know about these things that you are talking about, people that think squared is a penis and stuff like that. That's news to me because I've not pursued that. In these ideas, I pursued straight back to the source, and it's pretty clear to me what the influences are. And in art, you see both a reaction against it and people going with it, and you see all sorts of things. And in postmodernism, you see anything after the modern model falls down. Of course, people don't, they didn't hear about physics when it was exploding in the first generations of our the Newtonian era and around then of the physicists of that era. They didn't hear about that. They only heard as technology started to be changed, and those changes impact the people, and they're still not getting the ideas of what's behind that invention. They're just getting the results of it. So that stuff's all staggered and social and mixed. But you say that people talking about postmodernism is opens the door for the snake oil salesman, and I just say too bad. He's a market guy. Caveat emptor. There are these diamonds in that shit or whatever, and you don't even have to go to that shit because that's just the art. Why you shouldn't really get your real understanding of that from those results. You should trace it back to what those people were reacting to. They're reacting to some important things, and I think that these anti-postmodern rants, those are the ones that are used as an excuse. Usually, that's used as an excuse of why they don't want to hear what Gödel's incompleteness theorem proves about math. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about relativity. Right? They don't want to talk about quantum mechanics. That's all hokum pokum pocus. Yet it sticks with us. Why? Not because there's fans like Civil War reenactment, but because these are real concrete ideas. We see that these ideas match the shape of nature in the ways that the classical ideas did not and were broken. So, if we're talking about a bunch of stupid postmodern artists that you want to call crap, then that would be one thing. But he's trying to say that he's not trying to say, he's using it to say that he's supporting this objectivism because the alternate is postmodernism and it's all crap. No, he's just trying to avoid moving on. Now, most postmodernism, of course, is crap, including in philosophy or anywhere else, but most things could be said to be crap too. But at least those people are reacting to what's happened. I mean, I am often arguing with people that think they are making physically valid and strong arguments, things they've been taught and thought up from what they know, and they're 100 years out of date with science. They're not in the postmodern era in which all of those old crutches and those canon are failing. And when you talk about things being improved, yeah, that's the skeptical epistemology, right? Is, you know, Darwin is not overthrown; it's refined, and Newton is not overthrown; it's refined. But you see, there was an epistemology where you couldn't refine it; these things were laws, so they're either broken or they're laws, right? And once you realize that you have to refine it, then yeah, well, so Darwinism isn't overthrown in the sense that the new answer is nothing like it. Darwinism has to at least be a special case of some more accurate model of evolution, which I think is probably what you would say has happened actually to Darwin's ideas, and that's fine. That's the scientific side. But what about all the people that Darwinism made them think social Darwinism? Well, yeah, social Darwinism, the idea is that goes off on a tangent, and there's things in that tangent that will be overthrown, that will not last. So basically, when you have these scientific ideas, the way you take them has to be different. And he's just trying to promote objectivity. It's a kind of reason. It's been this stuff that what you guys have to face is, whatever you're going to call it, is you have to leave some of this classical thinking behind if you want to think about reality accurately. If you want to keep the part where we're supposed to be straight thinkers and look at the facts, then there's some facts that are weird, or at least our way of thinking is weird, so they seem weird. Really, we have to change our way of thinking because those are the facts, you know. And it's just has to be done. And you know, we've proven that mathematics cannot be based on any set of logical axioms that are themselves going to be able to be used to derive all of mathematics. Not with the kind of logic we use now. And we're not willing to change that logic because it's thousands of years of refining it. We have the idea. It's either that or we got to do something else. So you create things like fuzzy logic or other kinds of logic. They're actually, they can learn from the old system techniques and stuff, but they're actually, new kinds of systems. And we know we need that. Even just in the pure mathematics, where we don't have to debate determinism, there are true statements that can't be proved true and false statements that can't be proved false. And these are things we hoped wouldn't turn out to be the case in that kind of a system. And that's like a fully deterministic, or you have Wolfram's cellular automata with very regular, obviously determinable, deterministic types of rule sets. You get a certain kind of indeterminability. You can't tell where you are in a series. You can't back up. You can't see the patterns. You can't predict where a pattern that you do see, like these triangles that'll show up in these maps. You can't predict where they'll be. You just have to run the thing and see. Okay, and that's all in the pure mathematical side. And on the physical side, we already had, thermodynamics and heat transfer and friction and things that show it'll always be hard to have 100% accurate prediction, but it went further than that. We got to quantum mechanics, and we found out that particles actually are not classical things. They're more like ripples and waves. That's weird for something like an electron to, in some sense, be a wave instead. Okay, that has to be taken into account, and I would rather experience a million failed attempts to take that into account than just stand there with a bunch of people that are refusing to step over into that area because they're like, look at all that nutcase stuff over there. Yeah, well, because it's some weird facts. I want to see other rational people that think that things can be made sensible try to make sense of this, instead of those being the people that are like, no, it can't be made sense of, and therefore we should not think about it. So anyway, thanks for the reply.